process, or
Yeah,
can they kind of be jerks if they want to?
How cool they are about
Right.
You know, some of their support resources are like, I'm going to help you, you know, and some of them are like, go ahead and take care of this.
Right.
You know, again, it's just going to be your diligence. The big players are pretty good about it. The other thing to consider, and I should have talked about this about hosting, is the really big players like GoDaddy and one-on-one. They're kind of like the Walmarts of hosting. It's like there's so much hosting, especially one-on-one internet. If you've ever seen these guys, I mean, they're just plastered there. They are Walmart of web hosting. They offer so much, it's really cheap, but again, you're not going to get a lot of individual attention. You know? And again, you get what you pay for. If I'm paying $4.99 a month, the hosting guys, you know, the support guys can be like, whatever. You know, they probably will not jump through huge hoops to do anything. They'll support you, they'll keep your site running, you know, but they're not going to jump through huge hoops to help you do migrate content, that sort of thing. But again, you find exceptions. You know, the host on Matter is really good about that. HostGator is very, very good about that. They will actually go through some pretty big hoops, especially if you store all your stuff exactly. But again, if you're moving stuff, it's usually free. It's not that big. Unless it's, you know, between systems. Okay, so let's talk about content management systems. Do I need one? What is a content management system? Do I need that, or do I need a lot of it? Content management systems are obviously very popular these days because people don't want to build static websites. They don't want to have to, you know, as your site starts growing past 3 or 4 pages, if I want to make a change to the footer of my page, I've got to go change every page, or change the template, or re-upload the one, so go pain in the butt. And if I want any sort of functionality, like searching and users to be able to log on or post content or any of that sort of thing, I need some sort of system to do that. So the content management system usually means there's a database involved, and then there's a front end of files, just the fancy stuff. And the fancy stuff is displaying the content, managing users, and a lot of other cool add-on stuff we'll talk about in just a second. Who do you, anybody here use either Joomla or Drupal? Oh, yeah, everybody. Cool. Which one? Joomla? We got a lot of Joomla fans. I like them both. We'll talk about them in a second. They have different purposes. Okay, so you guys are pretty familiar. So then we'll talk briefly about, okay, what determines whether I need that versus something else. And this is a big deal because oftentimes companies have a need to manage content, but, oh, I guess we're going to need a storefront. We need some sort of customer CRM system to manage our sales and our leads and that sort of thing. Oh, we want a blog too, you know, and we start looking at there's a lot of different options for that sort of thing. What do I pick? I need a dedicated piece of software for this, or can I go with something that sort of combines everything? I've listed these two only because they're the most popular. There's many content management systems out there. These are the leaders in the space. Now, I say leaders, they're leaders in the free open source space, okay? I can go out there and pay money for content management systems, but who wants to do that? You know, again, most of the commercial content management systems don't have a whole lot of benefit at a certain price point. If I'm an enterprise company, I used to work with Vignette, which is a huge content management company, and they hosted the Olympics last time. Millions of page views and updates for millions of people. Okay, yeah, it makes sense to pay, you know, if you're a company of that size. Most small to medium-sized businesses do extremely well with this sort of content management system. You know, it might not look like I want it to look. And it's like, how do I change that? You know, unless you're a programmer or, you know, decent HTML, you're kind of stuck. So your mileage may vary, you know, depending on, you know, what you buy for, what add-ons and templates and that sort of thing. One of the things that Joomla does lack is it's a good system to rapidly build, you know, a web application or a web platform. It's not the best system for a whole lot of interaction with users. Now, people may argue with me on that one. Yeah, I can support a whole lot of users, and there's a lot of popular Joomla websites out there that host a lot of users. Joomla lacks a lot of things when it comes to, you know, managing those users and then giving them specific roles and access to certain things. And we'll talk about that more detail if you guys want. But again, I kind of refer to it as an off-the-shelf thing, going to, you know, Target and buying a nice content management system, and I can kind of have it up and running pretty quickly. On the flip side of that, kind of the antithesis of that is content management system that's been around since 2001. Has a very similar community around it, hundreds of thousands of users. The one difference you will see is the types of websites running in Drupal and Joomla. Barack Obama, Pink, Britney Spears, Popular Science. There's a lot of really, MTV UK, there's a lot of really, really high-profile websites running Drupal. There's a reason for that. But again, like Joomla, there's a whole lot of extensions. There's a whole lot of things I can add onto it to extend its ability. The big difference is almost everything you find in Drupal is going to be free. There's a huge difference in their community mentality versus Joomla. Again, because Joomla's kind of more off-the-shelf shrink wrap. People see dollar signs, and they'll often charge for their add-ons for it. Drupal is kind of like, we're all in this together, and people frown on anybody who charges for anything for Drupal. You know, that's not to say I can't charge to build a really nice Drupal website, but you know. What it's best for is when you need an extremely flexible content management system. Drupal's tagline is called Community Plumbing, and I kind of call it Community Legos, because if you go out and look at Drupal, and if you ever try to use it, install it, it's a little confusing. There's a million pieces you can add onto it, and they're all kind of like Legos. It's like, I need a blog, but there's not like, you know, a blog download, and it just works. There's an image manager tool, and here's a search tool, and here's blah, 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 blah. And I have to go out and assemble all this stuff and make it work. It's a lot bigger learning curve. It takes a lot longer to make it do what you want, but it's way more powerful if you need that flexibility. Again, if you're making a choice to build a social networking website, a community website, or that sort of thing, this is definitely the way to go, but you're going to need resources, you know, to help you build this sort of thing, this content management system. I say SEO because I wanted to talk that, obviously that's why we're here. Some important things to know about using content management in search engine optimization. This goes back to if I'm building a static website in HTML, I have complete control over everything. If I want to change the title, if I need to add H1 tags, if I need to change meta tags because I want to get the next meta, whatever. If I need to add alt tags to images or, you know, rearrange content, I can do anything I want with a static editor. Okay. Content management systems are somewhat at the mercy of how they work. Okay. If I'm building a blog in Joomla, I'm going to go enter a bunch of blog entries through its little management tool, and the people are going to see it, and it's going to display. And I don't have a lot of control over the content. I don't have a lot of control on the HTML underneath it. Now, obviously, that's a big issue, and a lot of things have to address that. Both of them, out of the box, do the best they can to provide tools. They can search it for having nice URLs. Both of them provide add-on extensions to give you more flexibility. Joomla is a really good one that gives you very granular control. You know, if I'm on a particular page, it'll let me edit the meta tags. It'll let me, you know, edit H1 tags. It'll let me manipulate the title. I'll be able to do all that sort of thing. Drupal's kind of the same regard. That's just something to consider, that if you decide to go with a content management system, you're going to have to deal with some of those headaches when you get into search engine optimization, right? And there's a lot of people out there that call themselves Joomla SEO experts, but in the end, it's no different than any other optimization. You're dealing with your content, and you're dealing with how that content is displayed to Google. Okay, it's more of a headache when you use any sort of platform instead of doing it yourself. But again, it's a give and take. You know, I don't ever build any websites without some sort of platform underneath it. It just doesn't make any sense not to. Questions?